Hi, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing the book cake tag. I thought I would do this tag today because it's my birthday today, and of course on your birthday you just have license to eat lots of cake, which I'm going to do later on this evening. So I thought I would film this tag today in celebration of the fact that it's my birthday. So this tag was originally created by Lorna from Suddenly Lorna. I'll link her channel down below as well as the original video. There are 7 questions in this tag, so let's jump into the first question. The first question is Flower, a book that was slow to start but that really picked up as it went along. And for this one I've chosen Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. I've done a review of this on my channel, which I'll link either down below or in the card symbol. But yeah, the first kind of 50 to 100 pages of this book were a little bit on the slow side. Kind of just building things up and getting to know the characters and things like that. But then it really picked up from there, and I was so taken with the story and the characters. This is a World War II novel, and it follows 2 sisters. They both come from France. One sister is married with a child, and the other sister is a lot younger than her, and she's just run away from her sort of, I don't know, 5th or 6th different boarding school. And the Second World War breaks out, and it's about kind of the 2 sisters and their roles in the war and what happens to them and things like that. It was just an absolutely fantastic book. Really enjoyed it. I was crying by the end of it, and I really do need to pick some more things up by Kristen Hanna. The second question is Margarine or Butter, a book that had a really rich and great plot. And for this one I've chosen The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is a book about a circus that comes to town sort of unexpectedly. It never announces itself, and it opens at night for people to go in, and this circus is really magical, and it has things in it that you wouldn't find in a normal circus. But the reason I've chosen it for this question is because it has such an intricate plot to it. There are lots of different storylines kind of happening at once, and they're really nicely interwoven, and there are sort of some nice subplots that go off, and there's a huge cast of characters in here. And I think rich is the right word to describe this particular book. It's the description in here, the writing in here is really beautiful, and I really enjoyed this one. Question number 3 is Eggs, a book that you thought was going to be bad but actually turned out to be quite good. And for this one I've chosen Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. I buddy read this book with actually Lorna from Suddenly Lorna earlier this year. She put out a thing on Twitter saying that she wanted to reread this before the second one came out. So would anybody like to buddy read it with her? And I said I would. And the reason I've chosen it for this question is because it's a zombie novel, and I watched the trailer a couple of years before I agreed to read this book, and you know, the trailer looks alright, but I'm not really a massive fan of zombie movies. Yeah, and I didn't really know how I was going to get on with this, but this is absolutely fantastic. It's not your typical zombie novel. It is about so much more than that. So this follows I'm going to have to remind myself, a zombie called R, and one day him and some of his fellow zombies go out to feed, and he ends up rescuing one of the women that are in the flat that they go to. Her name is Juliet. No, it's not, it's Julie. And he takes her back to his kind of hangout, and then they start developing this kind of relationship, and and then he kind of starts discovering that he's not showing typical traits of a zombie. And it was funny, it was philosophical, and the plot was really interesting. Yeah, and it was just unexpected. It was, yeah, a really fun but really heartfelt and thought-provoking read as well. Question number 4 is Sugar, and a sugary or sweet book, and for that one I've picked Wonder by R.J. Palacio. I read this, I think, did I read it at the end of last year? I think so. And it is just such a sweet book. but covering a really important topic. So this is, I wonder if it's a middle grade or a YA novel. I want to say middle grade, about a boy who has a facial disfigurement, and he spent all of his life being homeschooled. I think he's 10 or 11 at the beginning of this book, and at this point his parents decide to send him to school instead of continuing to homeschool him, so that he can be socialised and that kind of thing. And it's about how he fits into school, his experience of making friends and navigating through a world where, you know, having something like a facial disfigurement means that things are going to be harder because of different people's reactions and their prejudices and things like that. I love August's character. He's the main character in here, the boy, and he's just such a lovely character. And there are some really sweet moments in this, and there are some really quite philosophical moments as well. There's a movie coming out of this year, and Julia Roberts is playing his mother, and I absolutely can't wait to see it. I think it looks fantastic from the sort of teasers that I've seen so far. So yeah, that's that one. Then question number 5 is Icing, a book that covers all the elements that you want in a book. So funny moments, action moments, sad moments, etc. And I've mentioned this book on my channel before, but I'm going to say it again here. I've chosen The Martian by Andy Weir. This is a science fiction novel about a group of astronauts, and at the beginning of the novel they have to leave Mars, and they accidentally leave. I think there's some sort of an accident and they have to leave someone behind, but they believe that he's dead, and the person that's left behind is Mark Watney, the main character of this story. But of course he's not dead, and he has to learn to survive on Mars, but also try and find a way of getting back in touch with NASA so that they know he's still alive, and then, you know, trying to find some way to try and get home. This book is funny from the very beginning. If I read you the opening sentence, you'll understand why. I'm pretty much fucked. That's my considered opinion. Fucked. Yeah, and just straight away from the beginning of the novel, you know this is going to be something a bit different and really interesting. And there is a lot of sciencey stuff in here, but it's explained in a way that's easier to get your head around and not too heavy. Yeah, there are lots of moments of tension in here. There are lots, like I said, lots of funny moments. It's full of action. I still haven't got around to watching the film, but I would really recommend the book. It's excellent. Question number 6 is Sprinkles, a book that you turn to, or a book series that you turn to when you're feeling a little bit down. And of course that series has to be Harry Potter. This is the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but I'm in the middle of rereading the series at the moment, so I am listening to the audiobook of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is narrated by Stephen Fry, and I'm just having such a lovely time listening to it, immersing myself back into the world again, remembering things that I'd forgotten, and just, yeah, it's just such a great story, and I never tire of it. And like I said, it's just so lovely to be back in that world again. Stephen Fry is such a great narrator. Yeah, so these illustrated editions, I've got the Chamber of Secrets as well. So they've just got such great illustrations. I must get around to reading these as well. Let's try and find another one that's really good. There you go, you've got, is that Hogsmeade, I think? No. It's not Hogsmeade, it's Diagon Alley. Yeah, so yeah, Harry Potter, it's always going to be a great series, isn't it? And then lastly, question number 7 is the cherry on top, your favourite book of the year so far. And my husband actually weirdly asked me this question a few days ago, what's your favourite book of the year so far? And I was having a little look at my 5-star reads, sort of umming and ahhing, but I kept going back to one over and over again, and that's going to be my answers today, and that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I've talked about this quite a lot on my channel over the past couple of weeks, so I'm not going to talk about it much here, but it's just an absolutely fabulous YA book about such an important topic. So well written, a great debut novel. Can't wait to see what else Angie Thomas comes out with. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. There you go, guys. That's my book Cake. I had a really good time filming this tag. If you haven't done it before, I'd love to hear the answers to your questions. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.